93% of home buyers say that they regret buying a home in 2023. Let's get into it. Gemini Night Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Should you feel regret buying a home, or are there some reasons you shouldn't feel regret? I'm going to go through this. I'm going to actually compare some of the numbers in the Austin area as well to show people why they maybe should feel regret or they shouldn't. And then you tell me in the comment section, do you feel regret buying in this market? Let's go through it right now. So this article just came out through Yahoo Finance. Look, over the last few years, we've helped a lot of buyers buy homes. And you know what? I've seen a growing trend of a lot of buyers being regretful, not particularly my clients, but just people saying they regret buying a home. And look, the pandemic was a crazy time when we saw prices go absolutely crazy and things happen that weren't traditionally happening in most markets. I want to go through the list of the things because I don't feel that everybody should feel regret, but I'm sure some of you do. And I actually put a poll out on my YouTube channel, and we're going to go through the findings. You know, what's interesting about the findings on this is there's a big point I'm going to make here for those people that feel regret for price or things like that, that actually might make you feel a little bit better. So here we go. While Americans are looking forward to the housing market reverting to the pre-pandemic conditions of 2023, cooler real estate trends have yet to emerge consistently, which has resulted in many home buyers overpaying, compromising, and feeling pressured to buy. So here are the reasons why. So real quick information. This is the Yahoo wrote this. I don't really like Yahoo Finance, but here's what they're saying. It says, according to Clever Real Estate, a whopping 93% of home buyers and 95% of home sellers have regrets, up from 72% and 90% in 2022, respectively. A majority of Americans think that it is a bad time to sell and a bad time to buy. So 51% saying a bad time to sell and 51% saying a bad time to buy. The survey conducted in April polled 1,000 Americans who purchased. What's interesting about this is 51 think it was a bad time to sell, 50 was a bad time to buy. My little chart right here shows it's 50-50 as of right now, people voting that they did regret or they don't regret. So pretty interesting that is along with the 50% of people who think it was a bad time and good time to buy. So what are the reasons why people are regretting buying their homes? Number one, my home requires too much maintenance. For those people who rushed in to buy a home because they thought it was stock, like buying a stock. And this is what we saw happen during the pandemic quite a bit. People were buying homes like they were buying stocks. According to the survey, a third of recent home buyers, 33%, feel remorse about upkeep their home needs compared to 25% in 2022. Homeownership is typically way more expensive than people anticipate. There's too much maintenance and buyers often have to compromise too much for their home. You know, what's interesting about this is the buyer pool or the average buyer is around the 33-year age. People buying in the 33 age mark, right? If you think about the new buyer right now, right? It's more like the millennial, what is it, Gen Z, whatever the gens are. A lot of those people don't know how to fix homes. I mean, be realistic. I don't know how to fix homes, and I'm in my 40s having to spend the time and money to maintain. I don't even want to do it, and I'm a homeowner. I own multiple properties. So I could see a new generation of people that are used to door dashing, everything on demand, and now having to fix their home. They're like, what do you mean I got to fix my home? This is way too expensive. So I think there's a little bit of that in there. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that it is too expensive owning a home and maintaining a home? I do want to hear from you in the comments. Number 2 on the list, they said, I bought too quickly. This is something I definitely want to talk to you about. And what we've seen with some of our clients. In fact, Clever found that 28% of buyers are waiting to enter the current challenging real estate market until rates and prices drop. But many waiting for market dynamics to change are getting impatient, burdened by years of underbuilding. Inventory has been stuck at record levels, which has increased competition and prices while compelling home buyers to close. In the Austin market, we've seen a price drop really from 2022. We were at 667 as a high. Now we're around the 540 mark in the Austin area, 525 mark. So it's a big drop in prices. So I know a lot of people that are thinking like, it's not a bad time. But if you think about where the peak was at 667 and where we are now, kind of are getting a little bit of a deal. Okay. Oh, realtor saying it's a good time to buy. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're not buying at the peak right now if you're buying right now. Yes, interest rates are absolutely out of control, but I bought too quickly is not what I thought they were going to talk about. So what happens is that I see happens with buyers sometimes. They got rushed, especially in 2021 and 2022, and just bought a house to buy a house because they needed to buy a house. And there was the FOMO, right? I think right now in 2023, I've seen a lot more buyers be a little more patient. Now, early in the year, probably not as much, But right now, I've been telling every single buyer, wait to the end of the year, which is right now. It's in December. Right now, we have a healthy amount of inventory in the Austin market, 4 months of inventory. So you're able to choose a little bit. We're getting deals on a lot of these projects, right? We're getting buyers getting better deals. Yes, the impatientness about it, but as the market as a whole, yeah, inventory is still pretty low for the entire market, which means that some buyers are having to get impatient and buy homes that they probably wouldn't want to. So I can see that's why they are regretting it. What do you think? Is that a way or a reason why people are regretting it? The next on the list is I spent too much. According to this, 28% said that they spent too much. The average sales price of a new home in 2020 was $391. In 2022, it reached $540, and the average has dropped in 2023. They're saying $716, but that's not correct. The median at the back in 2020 in the Austin area ended the year at $461. It went up to $555 in 2021. We ended 2022 at $525, and now we're at $540. So if you look at this, we are below the 2021 numbers of $555 in the Austin area. We're at $540,000, but we are above the 2022 numbers, and that's a $90,000 more than what you would have paid back in 2020, which we ended 2020 at $461 if we're looking at this. Yeah, prices are definitely higher, and that is a concern for most people. But yeah, so this number that they showed, 716, is definitely not right. But yes, it is more expensive buying right now than it was a couple years ago. And plus, interest rates have made problems with that and made it a lot harder to, afford a home, especially in Austin. But in Austin, we did have a little bit of a tax break. I don't know if you saw in the news that taxes, there's a bill that was passed, so it has helped taxes on all of my properties actually went down. Should I do a full video on the new tax laws and all that in the Austin area? I haven't yet, but maybe I should. Number 4 on this list, my interest rate was too high. Look, interest rates got up into the 8% range for a while, and they have been slowly coming down. We're at about 7.11 right now, 7.09, which is extremely high if you're looking at interest rates of 2.5% in 2020, 2021, 2022. So yes, of course they are much higher and prices are higher. But if you actually look at it, prices were much higher in 2022 in the middle of the pandemic. Prices were a heck of a lot higher. They were at 667 in the Austin market. We're down to 540 as the median. Yeah, interest rates have made that really hard. Basically, this says a series of interest rate hikes initiated by the Federal Reserve, thank you, Jerome Powell, that was sarcastic, has led to higher housing prices. The bank interest rate affect the cost of borrowing from many loans. The bank's interest rate, yes. So the Fed funds rate doesn't necessarily with all the 10-year treasury, which there's a whole thing for that. But yeah, interest rates are way too high. And I think a lot of buyers, which we'll show in a second, are still waiting for those interest rates to come down. I still think that 2023 was a good year for buyers to buy it. You're going to say, oh, look, I'm saying 2023 as a past, right? Not like you need to run out and buy a home right now. I still think 2023 was a good time for buyers to buy. I'm going to show you that at the end of the video here in a second. Next on the list, I bought a fixer-upper. Here's one thing that I see buyers make a big mistake of. They'll buy a home, so they'll rush into buy a home. They buy a home that needs work. You got into it on my YouTube channel with a guy who said that, buyers shouldn't be asking for new roofs and they shouldn't be asking for all this stuff. They shouldn't be asking for all these incentives. And I said, well, if a house needs a new roof and it's not going to make value because it needs a new roof, the seller should pay for a new roof. In that scenario, you've gotten all the life out of that roof. Why should the buyer have to buy a brand new roof to buy a home? That didn't really make sense to me. Do you think that makes sense? Should a seller buy them a new roof? I don't know. You drop a comment below, let me know. But I see a lot of times that buyers will buy a home that needs a lot of work, and then it goes back to the maintenance things, right? I have to do all the work to it. This is a pain. It's way more work than I thought. And look, costs have come down on a lot of the lumber and things like that, but still it's expensive and it's time consuming doing a fixer-upper. You really want to make sure that when you're buying a home that you're getting everything in the home in good condition, that it's not going to go out on you right away, or you're getting a really good home warranty. It's something we offer for a lot of our buyer clients. 26% of respondents said buying a fixer-upper was the biggest regret. I agree. Properties that need repairs appeal to first-time home buyers, so usually come with a lower price. And that's the tough part, right? Because if you're a first-time home buyer and you have a specific budget, you're going to buy a home that needs fixing, and then you're stuck with all of the fixing. If you don't have the money to buy that home that's in really, really good condition, and you buy a fixer-upper, you're going to spend a lot of your side money fixing that house, and that is a pain. That's just the unfortunate part of, pricing of homes right now. They're expensive. I was pressured to make an offer. This is number 6 on the list this is really, really interesting. I actually have a question before that. If you're a buyer or someone that bought a home that was a fixer-upper, do you regret buying the fixer-upper? Do you enjoy the fixer-upper? I have a really good friend that bought a fixer-upper. He did it, lived in that home for a long time, and then they sold it and made a ton of money on it. So there are advantages to buying a fixer-upper. And look, here's my biggest advice for all of the people that, for all of these reasons right here, bought too quickly, all those things. If you bought in 2022, 2021, 2020, you're actually in really good shape as long as you hold the home. Because the reality is that when you buy a home, the longer you hold the home, it is going to be better for you the longer you hold a home. I see a lot of clients that bought a home in 2021. I think the biggest regret, I think, that should be on this list that wasn't. What do you think some of the regrets should have been on this list? But I think one of the regrets that should have been on this list was the regret of buying too quickly and buying a home knowing that you may potentially have to relocate. Because that's where I think some of these sellers that are buying have to sell real quickly are in big trouble because they should have held their home. They should have held a lot longer. With taxes coming down, we might see some of those people a little less regretful. But 6, I was pressured to make an offer. I really find this interesting. With prospective homeowners being priced out of the market like never before, dealing with increased home prices and mortgage rates, plus a volatile market has forced many to jump before they're ready. Buyers typically purchase their home for 100% of the asking price, with 28% paying more than the asking price. Now, during the pandemic, we saw a lot of people having to pay well over list price. The values went up and now they're coming down. Rounding out the regrets buyers had about their home buying experience had to do more with preferences and pressures to buy more than prices and rates at the market. I don't like my home's location, 22%. I don't like my neighbors, 21%. I bought sight unseen, 18%. I don't like my house, 15%. You know, what's interesting is in this somewhere it said 38% of home buyers said that they paid over asking price in 2023. You know, I have clients right now that are writing an over list price offer on a property, but it's actually priced well below where it should be. One thing I see a problem with sellers right now is they still think some of their prices are at 22 prices, even though we're not at 22 prices anymore. You know, I did this survey on my YouTube channel, and what I found was pretty interesting is 50% of people said they did regret, 50% said they didn't regret, while a bunch of people said they are waiting for a market crash. Now, here's where I think that if you did buy a home in 2023, 2022, you should not have a regret, because there is a whole bunch of buyers, a whole bunch of people still waiting for a crash that may or may not happen, which means that there's a whole group of people that are holding out or that can't buy a home. So you should feel a little bit of solace in the fact that you actually own a home, and other people are still sitting there waiting, potentially not even able to buy a home in the future, because do you really think prices are going to drop? If you have that many buyers sitting on the sideline, that is called pent-up demand. And I've been saying for a long time that we have a lot of pent-up demand. We have a lot of pent-up sellers as well. So sellers that should be selling that haven't sold. So a lot of things to go over this. Do you regret buying a home? I think that in time, that home that you bought in 2023, as long as you're going to hold it for 4 or 5 years, you're going to be in really good shape. Jeremy Knight, the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. We'll catch you in the next video.